Yeah, this dude's gonna get erased immediately. How much did I get? Oh, I did it 1,300. Yes, I get to get the key card. Okay. No more complaining, no more crying. I've did it. What is up, metas? And welcome to Dead October. And today we are going to be going over my shrapnel, I don't know what to call it, bullet hose, fire forever, crit, weak point damage build. I don't know what to call it. I'm not a big fan of shooting at dummies for damage numbers. I will include some of that footage in the end for you who want to see those. Doing a 60,000 DPS to a dummy, that doesn't make any sense to me. But I will show you now. As for the build itself, obviously we're using the Soaker, the Last Valor. I rolled out the calibration to get precision attack plus 25%, range plus 40%, but minus 10% rate of fire. I don't know if still don't know if I'm a fan of that or not, but it hits hard. It works fine. Mainly because I got crit damage plus 14.2%. and a crit rate 9.3%, which is really important. That's almost God rolled on the end of that. We want as much crit rate as we can on this build. Again, you want that on probably any build, but regardless. As for the mod that I am using on it, is a Shrapnel Souvenir Violent. When shrapnel hits a weak point, automatically refills bullets from inventory. And then I have crit damage, damage against normal enemies, damage against elite enemies, and importantly, a magazine capacity. Really, the biggest thing you're looking for on these mods are mag capacity, crit damage, which I'm sure that's what you would be looking for on any mod you get, probably, right? And damage the great ones or elite enemies. I mean, I don't know anybody who really actually needs damage against normal enemies. Maybe we'll need it in the upcoming uber hard modes, you know. Whatever's clever. You can absolutely use just the regularly rolled Last Valor. It's fine. I just, you know, whatever. Don't act like you know me. And moving along, of course, we will be using the recurve bow because, you know, it does the stuff and the things with the bullseye. As long as you hit a weak point, they are marked, so you get your plus 30% crit. Every build under the face of the planet generally uses this, so I don't see why you're not using it either. And just for funsies, if you slap this bad boy on the ground before you do all your attacks, you get Fortress Warfare. You can do it up to 10 seconds. I believe it only lasts for 5 seconds. I want to say this is how some of those spectacular 100,000 DPS builds are doing it, where they don't show anything but them hitting the dummy all zoomed in. I'm pretty sure they're messing around with that. I never actually used this in battle. It was just, I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm not saying, I am just saying. And as for the helmet, we are using the Gas Tight Helmet, key effects, max shrapnel target plus 1, shrapnel damage plus 120. And as for the mod, we will be using Fateful Strike. Cannot deal weak spot damage, crit rate plus 10%, and crit damage plus 30%. Now, I believe, I don't know if this is worded wrong, maybe just left out information in the wording. We are not doing weak spot damage. Obviously, that's the whole point of this build, is to do weak spot damage. What is happening is that we are not actually shooting at the head. We are, I shouldn't say that on YouTube. After that rolled off the tongue, that sounded really bad. We are not aiming for the weak spot. We are body shotting because our shrapnel is going to be hitting the weak spot to refill the ammo in our weapon. And for this mod, I have yet to put any rolls into it, but we got weapon damage, mag capacity, max HP, and damage to normal enemies. I don't want, well, mag capacity, weapon damage. I would love to get one with crit damage on it, but, you know, beggars can't be choosers, because if they got to choose, then they would never lose, and that would be the whole point of, I don't know what that saying actually means, whatever. Let's carry on. Now, for the mask, now we are using a 3-piece lone wolf, which is absolutely groovy. Now, everything is calibrated to 6, also, by the way. Now, we have For the 3-piece, magazine capacity, crit rate, get 1 stack of Lone Wolf Shadow with every 2 weapon crit hits. Lone Shadow, crit damage plus 6% for 30 seconds. The effect can stack up to 8 times. Increase, and then if you do 4-piece, you get an extra, what, 2 stacks? 10 stacks. So extra 2 on top of your 8. Correct? Did I read that right? You're welcome. But as opposed to that, I ended up going with a 2-piece Falcon, because basically you get an extra 12 crit damage, just period, end of story, and then you get minus 20% for rolling, which rolling will come in handy once we start doing LEA. Anyways, that's the gear. As for the mod on here, we're doing Shrapnel Carnage, a Shrapnel weak spot hit weight plus 100%, and Shrapnel weak spot damage plus 25%. So obviously we want hit weight plus 100. I honestly don't know what that means. I don't know if it's how hard it hits or how often it hits. I'm thinking it's that. And then shrapnel weak spot damage is self-explanatory, plus 25% shrapnel weak spot damage. And again, we aren't actually shooting at the weak spot. We are shooting at the bodies so that our shrapnel hit weight, I guess, our shrapnel hits are hitting the weak spots as opposed to us hitting the weak spots. Because if we hit the weak spots or aim dead at the weak spots, then we aren't getting the weak spot damage, and then our weapon is not reloading itself. For the gloves mod, crit boost violent. Mine has a crit rate plus 15%, and then I got crit damage, which was beautiful. Weapon damage, beautiful. A magazine capacity. I couldn't ask for a better rolled mod. God rolled. And damage against great ones, which is also fantastic. I don't mind that at all. Either great damage to great ones or damage to elites. That's really what I'm looking for. I do not really care about normal enemies. You know what? I should save. You know what? Well, yeah, I'll do it now. I'm sorry. I'll do it now. If you go into your mods, there's also crit amplifier. So one or the other, but you can. So crit amplifier, you would have crit rate plus 10% and crit damage plus 15%. But the way that this rolled crit boost violent, you can't complain because it even rolled the crit damage on it, and I even have one more boost I can do to it. I doubt the RN Jesus Lord Almighty in heaven will give me another hit at crit, but whatever. It is what it is. Moving along, as for the boots. On the boots, we have a covered advance violent. Taking no damage within 4 seconds grants plus 20% melee, weapon, and status damage for 30 seconds. The effect resets when the duration ends. Crit damage, again, normal enemies, whoop-de-doo, damage against great ones, fine, and weapon damage. Again, perfect world, mag size, crit damage. That's really what we want. For this, I am generally not always a fan of having the no damage ones, like taking no damage for 4 seconds. You know, you're inevitably going to be taking damage. It happens, but it is what it is. That's why I would much rather include actual gameplay damage and melting down bosses and stuff where you do get hit and you lose that damage as opposed to doing the dummy builds. But it's a good mod. And some of the other mods that there, again, I hate getting sidetracked when I do this, but yeah. And then the other mods that you could use are mods like slow and steady, but it's like when HP is above 90% damage, and you know, when are we ever above 90%? I don't know about you. I'm surprised I'm not right now. I have the little chunk of insanity on my character and health gone. So I never, ever use those. Chest piece, moving along. Rejuvenating Violent. I am a big fan of this mod. I know other people tend to put the blue mod on for more crit damage and more crit whatever. But for me personally, especially when you get into the harder content and even the arachnicism, I think that's what you call it, the stupid arachnid spider when she coats the entire map with poison. With this, when HP is above 60%, a kill recovers 15% loss HP. Now, this is worded wrong and it doesn't actually work like that, because I think what it is when your HP is below 60%, it recovers 15% damage. You can see in some of my other gameplays, maybe I'll include it in this if I feel like weeding it out of the boss killing stuff that I did. But you can see when my health is really low and I get a kill, it jumps up about 15% every time I do it. But when I'm over 60% health, you still heal, but it's like 5%. It's tiny little increments of health when you're over that. But this is absolutely a lifesaver, especially in some sticky situations. And it also saves on activators, which inevitably will save you on acid as well. So I don't know if it's worth it to you to get that extra crit chance in a blue mod, go for it. But for me personally, I love this mod. And I actually got a decently rolled one, and I have some more that I need to go through, and I don't know why I'm telling you that. It doesn't matter. But for now, I got crit damage and weapon damage, damage against elites, and there's that wonderful damage against normal enemies. If you made it this far into the video, you will know if you stack damage against enemies, you will have the best YouTube clickbait dummy build ever to shoot dummies and get high numbers. I just want you to know that. And as for the pants mod, Deadshot Violent. Each crit hit by non-melee weapons grants plus 5% crit damage up to 45%. The effect is removed upon the next reload. Now, this is also a very wonderful mod that pairs very well with the entire build, because we barely have to reload. We can go halfway through silos without reloading. We can shred down entire bosses without reloading. We can shred down silo bosses without reloading. We can take out waves and waves and waves and waves of enemies without reloading. So our damage is generally always up. And with the included build, or the included dummy footage I'll have at the end of this video, you can see how it winds up. And how everything winds up, and then you'll consistently hold around 55,000 or 55,000 to 60,000 DPS. But that is misleading. Not in a bad way, in a good way, because our DPS on bosses and elites are way, 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 way higher because of our deviations and our Cradle. Actually, here, let's go into... So I'm using El Doggo. So autonomously attacking enemies targets and attracts the aggro from nearby enemies. When a target dies, it spawns a clone, increasing weapon damage received by the attacked target by 32 trillion. I don't know why that's like that. It's funny. So the dog is absolutely ridiculous in battle. Ridiculous. You can see in some of the footage, like the boss footage I do, how much extra damage we inevitably do after it kills the two little dogs for me that are on the sides. That also sounds bad and shouldn't be said on YouTube. The beasts, whatever, it's too late. There's no going back. But the damage that he will bring us is insane. And also, if you throw this out just during waves of enemies, I mean, the enemies just disappear. That's it. They just get deleted. Now, they do exist too, where if you farm the dog, you can actually get higher leveled ones. So, you know, I'm just saying. I'm not saying. And I suppose I should show you my Cradle. That sounded weird also. This is the first build I've done in like 5 years since the Division. Give me a break. So we have automatic weapon enhancement plus 20% damage to our rifles and whatnot. Master traction after using a tactical item. Damage against the great ones, bosses, plus 25. So I always throw mollies at them because they do a lot of damage these days. I'm happy. Deviation Master, having it fight alongside grants damage plus 50%. So obviously, I'm sure everybody has this on their build. Reduce the cooldown of healing items by 30% because, you know, you need to heal. I don't. Not often, anyways. Usually just topping off because it rejuvenated the chest piece. But regardless, shooting my own horn. Weapon damage plus 25% for 4 seconds after switching weapons, which this works when you're getting your weak point with your crossbow. And then I'm doing a lot of hand gestures here and I'm not even on camera. It's pretty funny. Movement speed plus 5%. Running stamina cost minus 15% because, you know, that's important. Deadly combo after hitting a weak spot with bullet effects, damage or bounce and shrapnel. Bullet effects damage plus 25% for 3 seconds. Of course, we would want that. And that bullet hunt. After killing a target with ranged weapons, shrapnel damage plus 35% for 15 seconds. So obviously you could also do some shenanigans with that, with killing an enemy, you know, whatever. You know what I'm trying to say. The words that are coming out of my mouth. You're not dumb. That is why you're here. That's why you like this video. That's why you subscribed and all that other fun stuff, didn't you? Oh yeah, I should also tell you the food, right? And of course I don't have any. Well, I'm always drinking Stardust energy drink. You guys should be drinking that as well. And then I use canned meat. Shrapnel enhancement used to increase character shrapnel damage by 20%. Now, depending on the meat you use also, you can get bonuses. So I don't know, probably, well, I know pig meat gives you, or boar meat gives you like 100% stamina boost. Deer meat, I think, doesn't give you anything. Goat meat might be plus 50. I don't know. You'd have to look it up. But they're different bonuses. But they're all 20% shrapnel. So I'm always chugging this down. And actually, I'm just going to go ahead and put some more of that back in my inventory. Wow, that's really heavy. Let's go ahead and sort that out. Anyways, that's pretty much it for the build. I'll cut in all the boss footage, edit footage, everything else after that. I hate it when YouTubers do this and twist their mouses and everything around, so I'm just going to run around in circles. Do me a favor. Let me know what you all think about this build. If you have any suggestions or anything else, I'd say it's a pretty perfect build. If you have any other ideas and other things that you would like to do it. If you want to change the build around, make it your own. Do it your way. But either way, that is it for me. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that other junk. And I'll be seeing you soon. Yep, nailed it.